So my name is Miki. I'm 62. I transitioned quite late in life. People often ask me, when did I transition? And I find that a hard question to answer because, well, it is a transition and there are many stages. But in some ways, I can pin a date to 2011 is when I first started dressing full-time as a woman at work and in my regular life. And it was 2012 when I decided to change my name and go on hormones and everything. So my case is kind of different from a lot of trans women that I know. I couldn't say that for all my life I knew I was a woman or that I thought I was, trapped in the wrong body or any of those kind of things. And I ascribe some of that to my mother. From the earliest age, I remember that I had this knowledge in me that I was a mixture of male and female, and that was okay, that everybody was a mixture of male and female. I look back and I say, well, where did a young child get this idea and why? And so the only thing I can think is that my mother had some reason to tell me that. But she had gone to a really progressive boarding school when she was young. We moved to Saskatoon in 1968. She was a member of the early second wave feminists in town here. I always had that assurance from her that even though I was kind of feminine in many ways, that was okay, boys could be like that. And so that wasn't an issue for me. I was also bisexual. I am bisexual. I learned that at an early age and shared that with my mom, and the same thing. She said, oh yeah, that's pretty normal. You might change as you get older, you might not, whatever, no big deal. So I didn't have that sort of pressure, that feeling that there was something wrong with me that I think a lot of trans or queer people grow up with. It was only as life went on and I began to assume more and more the stereotypical role of male, which I found more and more I had to do. For quite a few years I worked in Barcelona. I had a business as a theater consultant, and I dealt with a lot of powerful men, politicians, architects, high-powered salespeople, salesmen. I found more and more that role was very hard for me. I began to rebel. I had started wearing leggings, like a lot of women did. I didn't see it as dressing as a woman, I just saw it as dressing in a way that made me feel more free. When I did start dressing as a woman, the impetus for that was when I heard that Sven Robinson, I believe, was introducing a bill in the Canadian Parliament that would be protecting gender identity and gender expression under the Canadian Code of Human Rights. I worked for a local arts organization as a designer, and encouraged by what I saw as upcoming change in the legislation protecting the human rights of gender diverse people in Canada, I had been away on a leave of absence pursuing artistic interests. And when the time came for me to return, I approached the director of the institution and proposed the idea that I wanted to return as a woman. He was receptive. He was surprised, but he said he would support me. We talked to my supervisor, who also said, well, as long as I do my work, that shouldn't be a problem. And so I did. And that was 2011. And at first it was wonderful. I really felt freer than I ever had in my life. It really felt like the right thing for me. Made me very happy. Just being able to live finally as who I really am. However, some of the people at work began to treat me badly. There was bullying and abuse. Some of it was very simple, just people refused to talk to me, or I would come into a room and they would leave. Some of it was more overt, and it kind of culminated in an incident after several months where I was confronted by a large group of men who were being threatening and ridiculing me, and this proved a catalyst for a breakdown. I did have an emotional breakdown and took time off work, tried to go back to work. Mediation was brought in. Why mediation was required when I was bringing a complaint about bullying at work was kind of unclear, but in the end it was clear when they said that they were going to fire me, which they did. The bill before Parliament was not passed. That bill was brought back several times over the years. The bill was not passed for a long time. And I found, when I tried to get recourse from the Saskatchewan Human Rights, Occupational Health and Safety, that nobody was willing to help me. The Saskatchewan Human Rights Commission explained to me the grounds of discrimination based on gender identity or expression was not included in the Saskatchewan legislation. I hired a lawyer, I was offered compensation, on my firing, and the lawyers suggested that I accept that, and so I did. For a while I was ill, and as part of my recovery I began my transition. I found a very good local psychiatrist who was able to assist me with that, and once I actually began the medical part of my transition, changing hormone regime and all of that, things just sort of got better and better for me. And I got happier and happier, felt more and more fulfilled, and when I began to feel my strength returning is when I began to work with local activists in the province to advocate for bringing in human rights protection for gender identity in Saskatchewan. And so that was something that I worked very hard on for a couple of years, and we were successful. In this federal parliament of Justin Trudeau, the bill was reintroduced as a government bill this time. It was finally approved by the Senate, and so it was passed into law last year, I believe. And so now federally there is protection for gender expression and gender identity in Canada. Many departments in the government have now begun to work on making substantive changes to bring themselves into line with the law. Everything from citizenship and immigration, prisons, public service, many different changes are taking place. So that is really, really heartening. And we also have protection in Saskatchewan. All of us, as we get older, look back at our lives and decisions that we've made and things that have happened to us and wonder, what did we lose? What did we gain? Whatever way you look at it, what we've gained is who we are now. And if you're happy with that, that's really important. And in my case, that's true. I'm very happy to be who I am now. I lost concrete things. I lost a home that I owned of many years. And I lost a relationship with my ex-wife, which was very important to me. I still have the love of my children. I've lost the close ties that I had with my brother and with my father. My mother died before I began to transition. That's a big loss. She struggled all her life to raise us children and took a huge chance and quit her job in order to go to university. And she ended up teaching in university quite late in life. So when she retired at 65, she wanted to write. And unfortunately, she found out quite soon that she had Alzheimer's. And so it was very sad to see her losing the ability to do these things that she had waited all her life to do. And I think that really made me feel strongly that, you know, if there's something that you need to do in this life, you better not put it off, because you might not get the chance. I started dance at the age of 49. The opening up of me and of my spirit that came about from beginning to be a dancer, learning to dance, is part of what helped me, give me strength and also guidance in the fact that I think that I needed to transition my gender as well. I feel like in some ways I've returned to my adolescence. I'm semi-retired. I can do whatever I want. I've learned to live on very little money. So I dance, I write a little. I live an unconventional life, and I feel very happy being who I am and doing what I do. I can live in the way that I think is right and be involved in the things that I think are interesting to me. Yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to keep my health and keep doing this for some time to come. I look forward to seeing what adventures life is going to bring.